Hello everybody, it's me again. So I'm gonna talk you through what I've been up to. So there are a lot of puzzles in this game, a surprising number of puzzles in this game actually. In fact, there are so damn many that I would dare say that there are too many. But I suppose that's, for you to make up your own mind and decisions on. So here, the puzzles, are actually very rudimentary. They're actually in 3D space. You don't have to worry too much about the line drawing aspect. There aren't too many things you actually have to do with the board, unlike most of the puzzles in the game. For these, to solve them, you actually have to get them in the light in just the right way that the smudges on the screen, like that reflected smudge there, reveals itself to you. So like here for a sec, I'm trying to figure out where the smudges go. And I'm like, okay, it starts there. So I basically brute force my way, and I'm like, okay, there's only one possible, solution of these three remaining. So I try all three, and there it is. But then I look back at the smudge on the water, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, long story short, this game messes with you in a lot of ways, but it also is pretty straightforward if you think about it. If you just take a step back and look at the surrounding, eventually puzzles like this will just start to make sense. They all follow their own sort of systematic logic, and there's no two areas that are really alike or similar. They all try something different and then twist it in a unique and interesting way. So I'm basically just going to blitz through some of these lines here. So if you should happen to ever get stuck on any of them, like you can't find the light hitting the panel in the right way, I hope that turning your graphics down will not impede you from being able to see the solutions to some of these. But yeah, the smudges, that's it. You just figure out the smudge. Like here, it's like you have the left side and the right side, so you have to get both the left and the right side memorized, and then you have to flip them, mirror them vertically, which for me, I don't know why, but I just have the hardest time doing that. So that one took me a while to figure out how to flip it vertically in my mind. One thing that helps is taking screenshots. Another thing that helps is drawing on very thin paper so that you can actually flip the paper around and see a mirror image turned upside down as opposed to just looking at it in a reflected surface. There's a lot of things you can do digitally to record yourself. Like, that's a lot of the reason why I'm actually recording these videos, is I then look back at them, edit them, flip them, and then find the solutions. So it's kind of messy, actually, but at the same time, it's really enjoyable. Like, I see this. That makes me want to draw the line exactly as it is, but I now have to do it backwards. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's that. And little things like that are super satisfying when you finally get them. The sound effects that play, the little lights that light up every time you get an answer, makes you want to just keep going and going and going and going and try to basically solve everything and, just solve the whole world. And this one, I'm having to speed up the footage because it takes forever. And I'm a very impatient person, but damn, if I wasn't patient, just sitting, waiting, and watching that reflection like a hawk and being like, okay, how do I draw that line? But I'm like, wait, no, I've got to do it backwards because it's a reflection. So it's like, okay, cool. But then this one, it's like, I saw the line as it was passing by, but I couldn't remember the shape. So I'm like, darn it, now I have to raise the water again. So I sit again, wait and wait and wait and wait, and then there it is. It's like, okay, quick, draw it while it's visible. Okay, got it. Then I start lowering it again, and I start looking for more reflections, and it becomes a mess. Because, like, if you raise the water, you can't solve one puzzle because the water actually gets in the way. There's a lot of crazy stuff like that that's going on in this room that subverts. Like, every panel is a subversion of the next. Because you're like, okay, I've got the solution, I've got it handled, and it's like, no, wait, don't, darn it, now there's something in my way. And it's just a I wouldn't call it a hot mess, because that's not true. It's very carefully engineered, but it feels like everything you do, like you think you know what you're doing, you think you're the best, you think you've got it all figured out, and then, no, you know nothing. You know literally nothing. It's just, it comes down to a lot of brute force guesswork. Like, that panel right there, that took me 2 hours just to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do with that panel. And this goes on and on and on, and you start to see panels like these, and you're like, okay, I see the reflection, I'm going back and forth, so I see where I'm supposed to go with my line here, and then here I'm doing the same thing. Those are easy, but then this one, you have a number of factors. You have the reflection, in the pool, which shows you the bottom half, you have the top half. You have to flip the bottom half to match it up with the top half, and then the top half has this little residual point in it that I didn't even remember was there until after trying to match the bottom half a whole lot of times. And I'm like, wait, let me look back at the top half, see if I'm getting something wrong there, because I'm getting the bottom half completely right. So I'm like, what did I get wrong? So I look at it and it's like, oh, okay, it bends upwards. Great. All right, so got that. This, I don't even know where to begin with this one. The clue, I'll just let you figure that one out for yourself, because it's damn near impossible to figure out. So good luck with that. I got to leave some mystery in there for you. This one is easy. You just lower and raise it, and then you see the parts of the puzzle that don't have any marks on them at all, but you don't see the marked up parts of the puzzle, which means that in actuality there's only 6 possible solutions. So the whole top half isn't used. So since the whole top half isn't used, I just have to connect the bottom part halves until I find a connection, and there I found it. Just brute force your way through. Now, I assume after you raise this elevator, you can go back down into the caverns, and there's even more stuff to do down there. But at this point, I'm just like, I am done. I'm done, son. Get me up to the surface. Let's deploy the friggin' laser beam and be done with this entire segment, because I want to get out to the surface. I want the fresh air. I don't know why fresh air even matters. But another thing that's interesting about this particular laser is it doesn't actually aim at the mountain. It doesn't aim at the mountain at all, and I'm like, why not? And the truth is, you actually have to go back to the windmill. And at the windmill section, there's a glass reflecting mirror. I'm actually going to get to that and show you how that all works in a sec. While we're waiting for this laser to power up, let's talk a little bit about what Witness is trying to say and what the story is trying to say. I think that all in all, there's a couple different things going on here. And I think it's all just stuff that Jonathan Blow likes to talk about. It's philosophy versus science. It's like basically belief versus fact. It's about rationality versus aestheticism, if that makes any sense. It's about a variety of different arguments being had here. And we're playing a video game, which is essentially a piece of art. And the art is trying to do more than just be a bunch of puzzles. It's trying to communicate something about us, about discovery, about what is it like if you were to talk to somebody that was an alien, if you were to talk to an actual alien entity, okay? What kind of communication would you use? What kind of language would you use? And this sort of thing is like what we put on Challenger. Like, I'm sure aliens would look at this and be like, if they were to look at something like not Challenger, I'm saying Voyager. If they look at like the Voyager space probe, and they're like, okay, I don't understand a single thing I'm looking at here. I can't make connections. That's basically what this game is essentially learning how to communicate with the puzzle designer in a more direct way.
Imagine if all the tumult of the body were to quiet down, along with all our busy thoughts about earth, sea, and air. If the very world should stop, and the mind cease thinking about itself, go beyond itself, and be quite still. If all the fantasies that appear in dreams and imagination should cease, and there be no speech, no sign. Imagine if all things that are perishable grew still. For if we listen, they are saying, we did not make ourselves. He made us who abides forever. Imagine then that they should say this and fall silent, listening to the very voice of him who made them, and not to that of his creation, so that we should hear not his word through the tongues of men, nor the voice of angels, nor the clouds' thunder, nor any symbol, but his very self, which in these things we love, and go beyond ourselves to attain a flash of that eternal wisdom which abides above all things. And imagine if that moment were to go on and on, leaving behind all other sights and sounds but this one vision, which ravishes and absorbs and fixes the beholder in joy, so that the rest of eternal life were like that moment of illumination which leaves us breathless. Would this not be what is bidden in Scripture? Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Augustine of Hippo, circa 400.
It is a great adventure to contemplate the universe beyond man, to contemplate what it would be like without man, as it was in a great part of its long history and as it is in a great majority of places. When this objective view is finally attained, and the mystery and majesty of matter are fully appreciated, to then turn the objective eye back on man, viewed as matter, to view life as part of this universal mystery of the greatest depth, is to sense an experience which is very rare and very exciting. It usually ends in laughter and a delight in the futility of trying to understand what this atom in the universe is. This thing, atoms with curiosity, that looks at itself and wonders why it wonders. Well, these scientific views end in awe and mystery, lost at the edge in uncertainty, but they appear to be so deep and so impressive that the theory that it is all arranged as a stage for God to watch man struggle for good and evil seems inadequate. Some will tell me that I have just described a religious experience. Very well, you may call it what you will. Then, in that language, I would say that the young man's religious experience is of such a kind that he finds the religion of his church inadequate to describe, to encompass that kind of experience. The God of the church isn't big enough. Richard Feynman, 1963.
So right there, in a church, we have a sort of debate, an audio debate happening with one person talking about the joy of religion and the other person talking about the joy of science and fact. And it's amazing that I'm actually stuck on that stupid puzzle, because really the square... Okay, so I'm going to try to explain these yellow things because they bothered me for a long time. I thought you had to like draw next to them. I thought you had to draw within the same spaces. Well, you do have to draw with them in the space, but I'm going to explain how these actually work because it's actually kind of hilarious. So the way these work, okay, is you have to draw, all right, a surrounding container that contains all the blocks as if they were like paired next to each other, or that could hold the block. So when I look at something like this line puzzle, I was stumped. I'm like, how am I supposed to make this work? And see, I thought you had to connect them this way with like one side being exposed. And logically, that made sense. But communication-wise, I wasn't getting it. Even though I thought I knew what I was doing, I was sure I knew what I was doing, actually. I was nowhere near close to even beginning to understand what I was actually supposed to be doing here. So little things like this are what make The Witness super enjoyable, because you think you know what you're doing, and really you don't. You have this idea, and you try to put it together, you try to implement it, and then you find out, okay, those got stacked together, and now the platform is moving, and stuff is happening, and now I'm trapped over here. How do I get back? And the game just sort of forces you to learn. It forces you to, in segments like this one, not all the time, sometimes you can just give up, go explore, and then find some new series of puzzles that are easier for you to beat. But here, what instead is happening is I'm actually trapped here now, and I don't actually know how these puzzles work. And I don't know how to get back. And so I'm like, okay, well, there are these flooded segments with stairs that obviously want me to go down into the stairs, and what the heck is this all about? And I'm just completely lost. But at the same time, I'm really enjoying how beautiful this little swamp / it looks like a cranberry field kind of looks. And I'm here is the bane of my existence. I was stuck on this for too long, for way, way, way too long. And next time, in the next part, I'm going to go over with you exactly how you solve this one and what it is that it took me to go through to figure it all out. So Just be sure to stay tuned and keep watching these videos. There's more to come, and I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing. Bye-bye, everybody.